Hey, everybody, diving into the world of storage and data management in this age of Gen AI and AI. Skip, how are you?
Doing great, sir. Good, really good to see you. Good to
Good to
catch
see
up.
you on a Friday, and thanks for joining. Really intrigued by the work you're doing at Quantum Corp. And maybe we could dive in with an introduction to yourself and give us a snapshot of your mission and vision at Quantum Corp.
Perfect, perfect. So I'm Skip Levins. I'm on the what we call the product operations team, and essentially what that means is, unlike a lot of other companies, we take product management and sort of how we imagine and build product and how we market it, and we sort of put that together into one team. So I'm on
Hmm.
that team, and I cover, a lot of Quantum's products that deeply affect how customers are going to go come to grips with not only unstructured data but AI. And Quantum is a familiar name. They've, gosh, like almost 40 years of experience in technology and storage. And depending on how you came to hear of Quantum, it could be, you could think tape, because Quantum is a huge lead in tape, and tape
Yes, I am that old, so I do go back to tape. And today, tape's alive and well, believe it or not. But yes,
I
gotcha.
mean, absolutely. And in fact, I mean, it's tape is fueling the hyperscalers. So all
Hmm.
that massive growth, if you want to store it economically, sorry, the only way you're going to do that is on tape. But Quantum's well known for either the StorNext file system. It's used by the leading creative brands around the world, and that's actually how I first got to know them. I was a technology evangelist at Apple.
Oh, okay,
Um,
no kidding.
yeah, and right before the dot-com bubble, which by the way reminds me a lot of where we are as an industry today. Another, I mean, well, I wouldn't even say bubble. I would say this sort of transformative event that's going to impact every business. And this is definitely not one you want to sit on the sidelines for.
Indeed. Well, let's talk about innovation. You're known for a lot of different innovations. Maybe describe your solutions and some of the innovations behind them in no particular order. What sets you guys apart in a very, crowded storage landscape?
Yeah, yeah, true, true. Well, so Quantum has a number of tools to bring to bear, and so if we just think about what we used to call, we used to call data lakes.
Mm.
Today maybe we call unstructured data. Well, we have tools to manage and store and archive and move all of that. But recently, we've been building tools. We made a few technology acquisitions to pull up and get more meaning out of what you're storing. So to store it, Quantum has. So I mentioned StorNext. It was essentially designed to get incredible performance even from hard drive based systems. So and that's critical if you're editing, say, film or television, or almost any kind of streaming rich media. But
Mm.
but based on the technology used to build that, we started thinking about the technology landscape and said, and in fact, we even watched some of the all flash early entrants and said, that's a good idea, but we think we have a better way to do it. So we architected an all flash file and object software defined system that's not just NVMe. It
Mm.
also connects RDMA interconnects and intelligent fabric, and it's all one system. And we call that Myriad. And it's just ideal for these fast moving AI and, in high performance applications, and even taking lots of different workflows around an enterprise and bringing them down to one system. So that's Myriad. We mentioned tape, but I would say the other end of, so you've got something like Myriad, which is very fast. We have another solution that can become very large, and that's object storage. It's a object storage solution that we call ActiveScale, and it's got an integrated cold tier inside. So you not only get all that protection, you also get it very economically as well. And then in between, the last part, it takes three legs, to build a stable platform. The third part for us are data tools. that move the data between, call it hot, call it hold, but also based on these technology acquisitions with Atavium for data classification and CatDV to move files and actually transform media and stitch together workflows, increasingly AI workflows from CatDV. So that is sort of the 90-mile-an-hour overview of our AI tools.
Fantastic. Well, not your father's or grandfather's storage, that's for sure. This is pretty new approach. And how do you fit within an enterprise, given you've got multiple clouds, you've got hyperscalers, and you've got customer premises? How do you see that coming together?
It's well, on whole, I mean, people have been saying the unstructured data growth is running away, and it has been. I think every person that runs or manages a company realizes that. I mean, what is it? Here's a report. 20% CAGR. What is it? 180,000 exabytes. Just growing exponentially, and I think to try and keep up, enterprises have been, not through any fault of their own, this proliferation of systems around their enterprise. We'll do a NAS here and the NAS there, and and then now with so many endpoints, you have to shuffle data between them all. But increasingly, the companies are realizing that whereas before, well, actually two things. So before, they may have been tempted to say, well, I'm dealing with this flood of data that's sort of the lifeblood of my enterprise. And maybe I'm just going to try and triage it, which is kind of a terrible word, but they'll keep what they think they need now, keep whatever they can of everything else, and then throw away something else and hope they don't need it later. And that strategy has kind of worked for a while, but I think increasingly, not only is unstructured data growing, but the value of that data for AI is becoming potentially way more important. It's really kind of forcing a change. And I think we're realizing that this multiple systems around the environment, they really need to get simpler. I mean, I've had CTOs of major companies tell me that their biggest initiative isn't adopting, storage technology X or driving down labor cost Y. It's reducing the number of systems throughout their environment. And that means, to me, simplifying workflows, simplifying the number of storage technologies. And I think you can get down to a pretty small number, something hot that can consolidate and take over for what used to be multiple different storage types, and then something very big like object storage that can just easily shift big data sets back and forth. So it's a really interesting point in the landscape.
Yeah, to say the least. And layer in data protection, security concerns. Every day we read about these data breaches and ransomware attacks, and it's just becoming a deluge. What's your philosophy or approach here to ensuring data protection, integrity of data, and all that good stuff for customers?
There's nothing else more important. I mean, you really are the steward of the data in your organization. So, I mean, and it's not just a job description; it is a mission. And so I think it's really interesting when companies start doing this sort of, I guess you'd call it an audit of how is data created in our organization? How does it flow through? And if it's leaving our walls, what happens then? And, do I really want to send that to public cloud? Or would I rather have it in my own object storage here locally? Do I want to use publicly available AI tools and start sending my data offsite? Or instead, do I want to stand up maybe my own systems inside my own four walls? And I think almost every AI service, Gen AI service, is going to tell you, well, if you're working on data with us, it belongs to us. And I think that does two things. One, it's probably, it's you have the stewardship, and duty to protect that data and not have it misused. But also, that's an incredible, potentially proprietary advantage that should be used and saved for your own organization. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, that's a great insight. So in this new world of Gen AI and AI tools, we're already talking about huge amounts of data, terabytes for an enterprise, which is amazing to consider. But how does Gen AI impact this, sort of fuel this requirement for more, better, faster, more secure storage? I mean, what are you seeing now with customers?
It's so Gen AI, I think, has completely kicked open the floodgates, and I think
Mm,
I think we're definitely at peak Gen AI hype. Because it these are tools that can have an immediate impact on an enterprise.
mm,
Hook a chatbot up to all your support documents, and boom, you've got the smartest 24/7 support engineer ever. But beyond that, where we're steering to and where our customers are going is truly leveraging and pulling up insights out of raw data that they've been collecting. And a lot of this experience comes or is at least guided by our media and entertainment customers.
mm,
And what they deal with are not lots of tiny small flat files or great big log files, but very rich, very hard to manage big video files or big image files. And that expertise for AI and machine learning, it turns out, is enormously useful. And for example, so we have a media entertainment customer that has just decades and decades of broadcast. And let's say there's a news presenter that they didn't tag using media entertainment tools. Let's say, oh,
mm,
that's Genevieve, and so we sort of wrapped our storage and CatDV in a lot of these AI tools, and we'll let ordinary operators to say, you know what, I've got hundreds of hours of footage and I want to know where Genevieve is. So all they have to do is a form, just sort of submit 3 to 4 pictures of that news presenter, and then the machine learning library will go through all the faces and all the video and say, yep, she's there, she's there, she's there, she's there. And that's incredibly useful. But when you pair that with a search engine, now you instantly say she appears in these 200 entries. And now you can do chain searches, like show me Genevieve and, I don't know, President Macron. I want to see those
mm.
two together. Boom, you have all that. And that's not possible if you haven't used these AI tools to go categorize and tag that content. So that's one side of using these AI and ML tools. So we call that enhancing or building up insights from what you already have. The other side, though, is these call it these custom actions, and this could be, I mean, the sky is the limit. So say almost any rich data you have, it could be maybe you're filming your manufacturing floor or a retail space, and you want to point out or catch certain very interesting actions. Well, this is the perfect example for these new kind of tools. So now you take your existing data, and now you have to train it or classify it. And you have a human expert typically say, okay, this person walked up to the display here, and we're going to tag that as up to prospect at a display, and then some certain meaningful actions, and you want to tag each one of those. Well, you do that to enough data, train it, and now you have a model exclusively trained to your specific needs, and again, your competitive advantage. So these are some really exciting areas where customers are taking AI.
Fantastic examples. Wow, I had no idea. And you mentioned media and entertainment. Talk about some other industries or verticals where you're making an impact. It must be kind of across the board.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the most exciting and perhaps the most rewarding is in life sciences.
Mm,
And in life sciences, or perhaps cancer detection, or some kind of medical imaging anomaly. I mean, it would take a doctor decades of training to be able to scan and look at, say an X-ray or an MRI and say, "Uh-oh, that's concerning. I want to look at that."
Hmm.
Well, we can apply that expertise. I call it gold plating. There's probably a better word. So we want to gold plate that expertise and mint it. So now I'm not replacing the doctor. I'm surfacing these across tens of thousands of images far faster, and giving machine learning a chance to identify things far faster, to make the doctor more effective and more efficient. So a lot of our customers in life sciences, doing really interesting genomic work. We have a customer doing, they're imaging silicon wafers, and that's been a business for a long time. I'm looking for defects in these radically expensive silicon wafers that now are getting down to nanometer scale. Well, the faster I can find errors laid down on the die, the faster I can take action. So it's almost any piece of rich media or video is an outstanding candidate to use these very same M&E sort of tools.
Fantastic. Great example. So the other thing we're seeing is we're running out of power and space in data centers with Gen AI, and we're seeking radically different approaches there. What are you doing on the sustainability and energy side to kind of enable this future that's right upon us?
It's I mean, that's absolutely a core concern, and we've been building flash arrays to push our StorNext file system extraordinarily far and fast.
Hmm.
And we love the speed and the enormous IOPS you can get from flash, same kind of flash that's in our Myriad file system. But one of the benefits that was kind of non-intuitive was, flash looks more like a little mini eraser instead of a great big hard drive. And when you start collapsing those down, you take, I think one example, I've got 8 racks. I break it down to half a rack.
Hmm.
And then the corresponding power and cooling, and not for nothing, but tape, a tape that can give you a cold, a glacier level tier behind
Hmm.
your object storage is also incredibly energy efficient. So it's yeah, but GPUs, yes, are a little power hungry. We can't help there, but we can make them more efficient and make them work better.
Fantastic. And how do you sort of go to market with your technology to work with enterprises directly? Do you work through channels or managed services providers? I mean, how does that look in this new sort of cloud
Yeah,
world?
it's well, first of all, Quantum is a channel partner company. So
Okay.
we work with channel partners in multiple industries, defense,
Hmm.
enterprise, media and entertainment, and these are all integration and experts in their field. We work directly with them, and even if you came to Quantum and said, I'll take 10 of those and 10 of those, we would still pair you,
Wow.
with an expert. However, Quantum is, almost always in every event going to be there in the installation, and obviously be there for support.
Got it.
But since you raised this, what's been really interesting is that customers that want a custom AI workflow, um, you know, we kind of can't help it. A lot of it is kind of bespoke. So we'll build, for example, an API gateway that pairs with our asset management system that works with
Hmm.
our storage. But a lot of times the customer will say, like, I need to know how to do X, or I need to recognize this action in
Hmm.
this like factory footage video. And so we'll end up adapting a machine learning model, or helping them train, how to do it and extend that model. So we do have a robust consulting or practice as well if the customer needs that.
Fantastic. And I guess final note, any advice to IT leaders, business leaders who are looking to, upgrade, refresh, expand their storage or network? What are some best practices for getting started? A lot of the thinking in this industry tends to be if it's not broke, don't fix it. But these systems are sadly breaking every day with cybersecurity and other challenges. So what's your
Yeah.
practical advice there for getting started?
Yeah, probably the best advice we can have. And we kind of touched on it briefly. And one, I think it's really important to do a sort of audit. How does data flow
Hmm.
through your organization? And if you're throwing away data, um, is it something that instead can be saved and preserved? Can you do it economically? Because if you can deal with the unstructured data flowing through your environment, then you are in a prime position to pivot, to take that raw resource and find and pull meaning out of it and build this competitive advantage technology. So I would say stage one, uh, unstructured data, making sure you're ready for unstructured data and that you can handle it and your data is protected and all the things you need to do as a company, the steward of your data. But the next um, is to be ready for this AI sort of transformative wave. And so we advise customers, one, kind of take the easy wins, start getting familiar with Gen AI in your organization, but think about where you could sort of gold plate this expertise around your environment to have this sort of 24/7 expertise running for you. So stage one, if you can adapt to unstructured data, and then two, think about how that so easily becomes an AI competitive advantage for you.
Well said. And you guys invest a lot in research and development. Any future trends, beyond this year and next, we should be looking at for storage? Any magnificent technologies on the horizon you guys are investigating?
So I got to say we sort of build it into a lot of our products, and there's as a product designer, there's always technology that's not quite ready to build what you want to build, so you have to sort of
Hmm.
like drive there. um, but I would say today most customers are sort of coming to grips with the fact they've got lots of storage systems and that they can put them on something like Myriad.
Hmm.
Um, and in Myriad, we adopted something called BGP, Border Gateway Protocol.
Sure.
You're a telecom expert,
I'm
so
an internet telecom geek, so
that's
yes,
right.
these are very
So
familiar.
but a lot of organizations hear BGP, and if they haven't implemented it, they think, oh, that's only at the internet backbone technology.
Hmm.
No, it's not. We bake it into Myriad. So for example, if you were going to expand another storage system, you got to bust out your IP tables and reserve them. And with this, you simply take bare metal, you introduce more storage shelves, wire them into the system, and it automatically does all that for you. So that's a really cool piece of innovation. But beyond that, we've got a heck of a roadmap for Myriad and
Hmm.
for AI technologies. You know, the Some people have called where we are a sort of gold rush, an AI gold rush,
Sure.
and you kind of but you realize that everybody remembers the Levi's from supplying the gold miners. So we loved creating the tools and sort of the platforms for that. And yes, there's a slate of technology that we want to do to make it as seamless as possible to go from raw data to insights and these AI tools.
Wow,
Absolutely.
that's a sort of mic drop moment. So we'll end it there. But just personally, you're in Austin. I imagine it's getting a bit warm. Well, it's warm here in Boston today. It's like 90 plus degrees.
That's incredible.
But what are you up to the next few weeks? Any travel or trips, or are you going to manage to be at home base for a bit.
Yeah, next few weeks, heading back out to San Jose, we have an
Mhm.
office there, and part of the AI strategy part is meeting with customers and and helping map out their future. And frankly, that's where we get our best ideas, and
Mm.
is hearing what customers are coming to grips with. And it's kind of the old Steve Jobs thing. You show someone a pencil and you say, if you wanted a better pencil, they'd say, oh, I want a bigger eraser or something. And instead you have to imagine the pen instead of the
Oh,
pencil. So
that's a
that's
great. Well, he was the best. And do you, as a former employee of Apple, do you still get any discounts or access to the campus there in Silicon Valley, or is that all
I,
behind you?
yeah, yeah, I do. I have some great
Oh,
friends that are still there. Obviously because they love the technology. So yeah, I can get a friendly discount.
a friend of a friend.
That's
Excellent. Well,
right.
thanks so much, Skip, for
Okay,
joining. It's an amazing vision, and you're doing fantastic work. Look forward to staying on top of it. And thanks everyone for watching.
great
Have
to
a
catch up
great
with
weekend. Take care.
you.